There's a lot of whinging and complaining in the mental health space. You can't be an advocate and pick and choose. If you want to be there, you got to be there. I don't love what I do. What I do love is seeing people learn to love themselves a little bit more. I fear that the one kid that walks away not engaged is the one kid we lose.
How do you deal with them, those voices?
It's about understanding that my thoughts no longer have to become my actions, and the truth and reality is what you're thinking true. Is it reality, or is it an open loop in your brain that needs closing? Our brain can only do one thing at a time properly. Labels belong on jars, not people. Our words have the ability to do one of two things. They can lift up, heal, empower and inspire people, or pull down and destroy them. I make a lot of mistakes. I've upset a lot of people along this journey, but I'm doing my best. We lose the ability to be authentically us. Our kids have to hurt. They have to feel. That's what resilience is. We can't teach it. You have to do it. 1,440 minutes in a day, 400 to 600 sleeping, 400 to 600 at work, 400 to 600 remain to be a good person, to be present to people. So somebody tell me they're too busy to help somebody. Somebody show me their diary and tell me they're too busy to be a good person. Please.
It's cop out.
Please.
Before we jump into today's episode, I have a small favor to ask from you. If you've gotten any value from any of the podcasts, any of the content that I have put out, please hit the subscribe button. It honestly helps me so much. It helps this channel in growing. And as you've seen, as the channel grows, the guests get bigger and better, which means I can provide more knowledge and more value to you, the listener. Thank you and enjoy today's episode. Matt Runnalls, thank you for coming on to the Betar Project. You know, we did our first episode. I was having a look. August 2021, you were episode 77.
77 in.
Yeah. Now I'm just about to hit 250.
Yeah. That's been a journey.
And we've been speaking a while about actually doing this in person, and it's finally aligned. You've made the trip out here, and I'm super grateful, bro.
Yeah, mate. I mean, to be in your space as well, it's cool to see where people end up and what they do. And as I said, people who start meaningful conversations, I'm a big fan of. I love it. And those especially who do it right, but those who are just driven from the right place. And, you know, I had a big hiatus, I guess, from podcasts for a little while because I get sick of saying the same things. But I love the people, and I get sick of saying the same things to people who are just doing it for their own benefit.
Yeah.
And then there's people like yourself who just are so driven and passionate. And I just see that in me. And so it's just like, here we are, let's do it again, let's boogie.
I get it.
Love it.
For anyone listening, if you want to go back to episode 77, that's more so your story. This is going to be a bit of a different podcast today because, as you said, it can be quite boring saying the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
And I can find that as a host, even going back and listening to your podcast, it's the same stuff over and over again. So if we can change it up a bit, I think that's the awesome part of podcasting. So I was having a look on your profile because I like to do a bit of research. And there was this quote that popped up and it said, in order to save myself, I had to first destroy the person I was told to be. What does the listener need to know about you to better understand the man that sits in front of us today?
Yeah, well, I guess in reference to those things that I say along those lines, I guess like my hashtag and my branding around what I do now is about change your world. And changing your world looks like changing your environment from tapping into the resources, the people you love, the people you're inspired by, from place around you, from place of inspiration. So I guess for me, it was about changing my world and using all of the little things that have happened along my journey to become something better. So, you know, I was doing a lot of this work for a long time and going out there trying to help people and make a difference and doing great work. But there was a big part of me that was like, hang on a minute, how much greater at this could I be and how much more of an impact could I make on individuals or big settings of groups if I first knuckled down at some of these deficiencies or things that were sitting there that were still giving me grief. So I had to destroy that person. I had to go back and do a lot of healing work. And I mean, let's go back to March and February, a couple of months ago. I've gone back and done some intense work on myself to better understand myself because of recent hurt. And so I guess it's always about destroying the old me. And I don't listen to podcasts that I'm on. I don't watch things that I've been filmed in for the very reason that hopefully I'm better than I was yesterday.
I heard you haven't even read this back. Or
I haven't read my book. Don't want to.
Just brings up so much pain.
Well, that, but also I'm not that person anymore that wrote that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, for me, it's like, cringe. Yeah, like there's a lot of good information and education in everything that I do, no doubt about it. But it's just like, I just believe in being so much better tomorrow than I am today. And that's why I guess, yeah, I really struggle to watch anything back or listen to anything back because I'm like, oh, Matt, come on, you're better than that. Because I still pick up on things now where I'm so much better than I was, even my articulation of things. And I think that that's what it takes to be a great advocate of any field. But if I'm not looking to get better every single day, then I'm sort of letting the people down that are in front of me. And so, you know, there's people out there that are doing great work in the advocacy space, but I listen to it and I'm like, that's so basic. It's really basic. But a lot of people need basic, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to help. I'm not trying to play in that space. I'm trying to give people things and tools and strategies that are not revolutionary, but they're things that people haven't really spoken about yet. You know, like when I first started my journey, I was doing cold showers and ice baths 8 to 10 years ago. Now it's a thing. And I love that. I love that people are there now. But for me, I'm like, that was a long time ago for me. What's the next thing that I can get a hold of that helps me to become the best version of myself or helps me to break through for somebody else out there? So yeah, that was selfish in a lot of ways. You do as much work as you can to look after self, but in turn, I'm able to give back to other people that skill set of what's worked for me or what hasn't worked for me, because we're all different, right? So yeah, I'm always trying to hashtag change my world, change your world around me. So from a place of love and inspiration.
That's what I love about you. You tell it how it is. There's, in this mental health space, there's a lot of people that it's just like, oh, come over here, come to this mental health pity party, right? Nah, fuck that shit.
Not for me. Not for me, mate. I just can't do it. It's an exhausting, you know, I've always said I don't love what I do. What I do love is seeing people learn to love themselves a little bit more. I would think of a million jobs I'd rather do. And a lot of people will go, that's crazy, mate, because you shouldn't do it if you're not, you know, love what you do. But I get enough out of what I do to keep doing it. But I'm not going to sit around and use what I've experienced as a commodity or an excuse as to why I can't do things, or hang around people that make me feel like because I live with something I'm not capable. I love being around people like, let's boogie, let's create some magic, let's dance with what we're experiencing. So even that pain of recent, it's just about, yeah, you sit and bathe in it for a little bit. It's human to do that, but it's just like, all right, what's this thing trying to teach me? How can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? How can I dance with it? What magic is going to come of something like this? And I guess for a long time, there's a lot of whinging and complaining in the mental health space. We've come a long way. I don't see as much of it anymore, but there is still a lot of people that believe it's suffering. A lot of people that believe that I can't do this because of. And I'm not interested in being around that, because I know that this place up here is a dangerous place to be. And if I hang around that stuff for too long, I'll become part of that too. So I got to protect this thing up here. When I'm up here and it's good and it's working well, it's a beautiful place to live. But when it's up there and the weeds are there and I'm tiptoeing around pulling those bindies out of my feet, this is a dangerous place to be. So I don't want to hang around in those environments where I'm getting sucked back into believing these stories and narratives about myself that don't need to be true. I mean, I'm all for kick me down, have me down for a couple of days, but you're not getting any more of me than that. Now I'm bouncing back and I'm leveling up. Exactly. I'm going to be the best version of myself. And in turn, hopefully, the things that we learn in that area that we were down, we throw back and give to everybody else out there, so they don't have to experience the same things we do or know what to do if they do.
Definitely. And I love that you mentioned suffering as a choice. I think Kevin Hines mentioned it to me, Prue mentioned it to you. Like, it is a choice for us to suffer. We can either say, let it control us and go, oh, I'm suffering, and let these labels become our identity. I wanted to ask, what's your relationship with labels? Because you openly say that you have bipolar.
Yeah.
How do you identify with that? How do you know about that?
Sorts of labels for me, and I commonly heard saying on stages and etc. You know, for me, labels belong on jars, not people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not necessarily the labels of our diagnoses, right? Diagnoses are there for a very good reason, but I'm very cautious also of helping people to understand that they don't have to they don't make up the nature of who we are, right? But also there's labels that I hear from parents all the time, like, oh, hey, Matt, have you met my naughty one? And it's like, oh, careful what you say and careful what you wish for, because you tell that kid he's naughty, guess what he's going to be? Yeah. And if you tell an unruly kid that he's going to be great, watch what he'll be too. So it's about, I guess, making sure that we're very careful of the words and our behaviours and what we're projecting out into the world, because they will come back at us, but they'll also infiltrate other people too. So, you know, as my mentor always says, our words have the ability to do one of two things. They can lift up, heal, empower and inspire people, or pull down and destroy them. And some of our labels are the latter. They'll pull down and destroy us. So it's very careful that we're labeling the emotion rather than the behavior. And I think we see a lot of kids being naughty in our schools. I've just come from schools. And the teacher's like, oh, this is my naughty one. This is my troubled one. I'm like, well, careful saying that. That kid's not naughty. I don't believe there's a naughty kid out there. There's behaviours that are naughty. Let's label that and not the kid. Because the kid hears that, the kid will become it. I can promise you. My teachers used to tell me I was naughty all the time. And I couldn't wait to get to school to show them. Couldn't wait. I'm like, you tell me that I'm distracting, you watch me be. You tell me that I'm a pain in the ass, you watch me be. Challenge accepted. And this is the same way that a lot of our kids think. So labels belong on jars, not people. Label the behaviour rather than the emotion, or label the emotion rather than the behaviour.
Definitely. For me, I was labelled the shy, quiet kid, which then killed my confidence, my self-worth, because I felt like I couldn't even speak to people.
Yeah, so it's the other end of what I was. I was this is the naughty one, this is the challenging one, this is the one that's going to give us headaches. So we're at opposite ends of that continuum.
Yeah. And when you're young and when you hear that, like from 0 to 7, it's like your imprinting stage. And when you hear that over and over again, you actually start to believe that and it becomes your identity.
It's a conditioner. You tell me I'm a burden or that I'm distracting kids. Cool. Tell me again. Cool. Tell me again. Cool. Until it's there and it's solid and there's no denying that fact. I believe I'm a burden on every single person I come in contact with on my dark days. That's come from the conditioning that I was led to believe at school. Matt, get out of the classroom. Too distracting. I was not nasty. I was not derogatory. I couldn't sit still, couldn't concentrate, couldn't focus. Loud, talking all the time, couldn't sit still, couldn't focus. Out you get. And then it's all I could hear in my mind while I'm sitting out the corridor by myself is, I'm a burden on every single person I come in contact with. I'm a failure. Can't even sit still. And I'm worthless. Why can every other kid do this and I can't? So, and I've got nothing to offer this class. That's why I'm in the corridor. Still on my dark days, even a couple of weeks ago, I start to go straight back to those places. Matt, you'll never amount to anything. You must be your parents must be so ashamed. I still hear it every single day that I have a dark time.
How do you deal with it, those voices?
It's about understanding that my thoughts no longer have to become my actions and the truth and reality. So again, it's stopping and pausing and taking that deep breath and going, hey, Matt, what would the best version of you do in this moment of time? Is what you're thinking true? Is it reality? Or is it an open loop in your brain that needs fixing, needs closing? And so I guess it's about understanding what's real and what's not and closing that loop for myself. When we were young, get out of the class, you're too distracted, you can't concentrate, you can't focus. To me, I hear I'm a burden, I'm worthless, and I'm failure. My little brain doesn't have the ability to separate wrong from right or truth from not true. So I guess I sit there and in that, and I start to believe these things about myself that are not true. And I see a lot of kids going through the same things at school. So now that I have the ability to understand what's real and what's not, now when I feel like a burden, it's okay to feel like that. But my pain is my gift. And the reason I'm on this podcast, the reason I go and do anything around the world is because I believe I'm a burden. Because of that, I help other people to not feel the same way. So it's like I've got 2 young legends that work at Mindful Oz and they're in the primary schools at the moment in New South Wales. One of them's called Limiting Belief. Mine's I'm a burden. One of them's is I'm not good enough. And the other one is my feelings don't matter. My feelings don't matter. He is one of the most gentlest, kindest blokes in the planet. Beautiful soul. Why? Because his feelings don't matter. His pain is his gift. He doesn't let it overrule him and consume him. But because of that nature of that conditioning that he's led to believe that his feelings don't matter, he shows up and makes sure everybody's feelings matter. I'm not good enough. He's always striving to be the best version of himself because his pain is now his gift. And it's a beautiful thing to watch people dance with and maneuver and navigate around and create magic with the things that once caused them a lot of hurt. I'll never not feel like I'm a burden on people. I know it's there and it'll rear its head and pop up and I'll see it and all right, let's boogie, let's dance together. But if we keep kicking back and rejecting that idea that I'm a burden all the time, it'll continue to haunt me, kick me, and punch the crap out of me while I'm down, like it does.
Yeah, it's about having a relationship with that dark side, not letting it control you, but having a relationship and letting that spark or fuel you to then go out and make the change that you want to do. Like for me, my pain was being told I wasn't good enough. I couldn't speak to people. I was shy. And just like your work is now, I want to strive to be the best version of myself. And because I felt like I wasn't heard growing up, I'm a massive listener. I'm able to hold space for people and let them voice whatever's on their mind and just hold that safe container for them to feel comfortable enough.
The pain's your gift.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it makes it any easier to go through.
No.
But it does make us 10 times better person than we might have been if we let it. If we always kicked back off it, avoided it, removed it, self-medicated it, whatever that looks like. And I did that for a long time too. So I don't ever think I'll get rid of the feeling of being a burden. But it has made me an incredible advocate and a great CEO at Mindful Oz doing the work that we do. And I say that in the most humble ways possible because of what we do is built off the basis of that I'm a burden. So I'm trying to, it's like me as a speaker, I go into an environment and I hate the idea, and I'm on record saying this a lot of times too. I hate the idea of a speaker saying, oh, I'm out there to impact one life. If I impact one life, I've done my job. Shut up. Get out there with the microphone. It's a privilege and it's an honor. You're not playing in retail. You're not playing in hospitality where you miss something, you can go back and fix it up. You're on stage. You're in front of people talking about mental health and wellness. It's a serious topic, a topic that you might not get another shot at. So while you're there, you impact 100% of lives, not one. So that's being a burden has made me want to do that. And that's why sometimes when I have environments and I'm in audiences full of kids that, might be playing up or might not be taking it serious or might be taking the piss or laughing, I'm putting out their vulnerability shield like, I don't want to have this conversation, I'm too cool. I'll pull them up on it. Not because I don't like the kid, love the kid. That's why I'll pull them up. So I don't want you to experience the same things I've experienced because I was that kid laughing. I was that kid taking the piss. And funnily enough, look what happened to me. So it's just like, how can I choose to look at what I go through a different way? And burden for me, worthless, failure, 3 core limiting beliefs that I've had for a very long time. Am I a failure? Absolutely not. Am I worthless? Absolutely not. Am I a burden on people I come in contact with? Absolutely not. But feeling like that has led me to do incredible work and do it well.
I have to reframe because I say on podcasts, if I can impact one person and make it faster, you got me. I need to impact everyone that fucking listens to
That's absolutely right. Yeah. Anybody that picks up or listens to this amazing podcast, his life is going to be impacted. And the way we look at things like that, it's a good way to look.
Yeah.
But I used to do the same thing. I used to get on stage and go, as long as I make a difference to a couple. But I've also had to surrender to the idea of not, right? I'm in a school today. I've just left the school to come here. And I said we did a session on redefining what masculinity looks like. And obviously, young boys, that's a difficult dance, that one. They don't understand it the way we would love them to understand it. And as I said to the educators at the end, they're like, kids didn't really show up the way they should have. I said, no, they're wrong. The ones who did, who needed to, did. And it's just about surrendering to the idea that we have to impact them all in that short amount of time. We've planted some seeds that hopefully we can continue to dance with so they do get the eventual learning. We've got that opportunity. They're in the schools. But I guess for me, it's also about stepping back and not leaving a school like that and being worked up that there was kids that weren't listening.
Yeah.
Because I used to leave it frustrated. And I left it frustrated because I care. Where I'd watch other speakers leave and they're like, yeah, who cares? The ones who got it, got it. And I'm like, no, doesn't that shit you up the wall? You want everyone to get it. And that was also having that fine balance of, I want to impact 100. I'm going to show up and hope, not even hope. I'm going to show up and do everything in my powers to impact 100% of people. Will it always be the eventual outcome? No. And you've got to surrender to the idea. Otherwise, I drive away pissed, frustrated, and full out of love for what I do, or come back next time and take that frustration and passion out on the next person. So it's about that, doing that dance at that balance of working out, okay, I do care about these kids and I'm going to do my best to impact every single one of them, but I've also got to realize that I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So for me, I just changed that mindset around it. And that's why I guess I'm always trying to learn more, because if I just impact one person, that's fantastic. And it'll have a direct ripple effect of another 3 that I'll impact. That's what science shows. But for me, what if I can impact 100% of people in here? Look at that impact. And so I'm always striving to be better. And when I go home from an event and go, okay, what went wrong today? Why didn't I impact 100% of people? Why did that person get disengaged? I find the ways to change that. And that's why speeches, keynotes, workshops, seminars that I run change dramatically from session to session, so that I can find new, fun, engaging ways to keep everyone on the path. Because I fear that the one kid that walks away not engaged is the one kid we lose. And I don't want that. I've got a responsibility as a mental health advocate, as a speaker, as somebody who's, does this dance right around the world to do it properly and to do it well.
Would it be hard? You go into these schools, you run your workshops and you leave and you may not have contact with those kids again. What's going through your mind knowing that, did I impact them? Did I not impact them?
Yeah, I think when you build out any sort of workshop, seminar or training, you've got to build it on outcomes. And when you build outcomes, you've got to understand that the outcomes are being met.
Yep.
So when I deliver something, I'm going to deliver this piece. I'm going to deliver 3 points to reiterate it and ram it home. And I know if they show up and do this in that section, that in this section, I've landed it. And probably don't move on until you have landed it.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I know they've landed it? By X, Y, Z. And so I'm never guessing or hoping that they've got it. There's debriefs, there's questions, there's evaluations, there's different things where I know the learning's been done and multiple touch points. And then when I leave, what can I tangibly give the school or the environment or the audience something to continue what I've just went through? Because what I do in 69 minutes is a lot for a lot of people. It's a lot to unpack, a lot of information in other parts. So it's just like, what can I tangibly give them so that they continue that journey? I would say that there's a good 10% of people who in every audience will message me after a gig. So my inbox fills up pretty quickly, which is it's another responsibility of being a mental health advocate, but I care. And if I'm that one person they do feel comfortable in talking to about these things once I leave, I got to be present for that too. You can't be an advocate and pick and choose. If you want to be there, you got to be there. And that's a lot. You know, I know a lot of advocates are like, I don't even answer my inboxes. And it's like, for me, I know we've got to look after ourselves, but also can't light a fire and run away from it. You've got to sit there and put it out. And that's me encouraging, referring, walking and listening and helping them to their next steps. And I'm not opening my inbox to 1 million people to listen to this and come fire things off me. That's not my role. But for those who I do build that connection with in these intensive workshops, by all means.
How have you found it when people do reach out and they're opening up to you and essentially putting their problems in the inbox? How does that impact you? Like, because in a way you kind of have to not so much take on their problems, but it's like they've trusted in you to give them some sort of solution.
Yeah, I think when I first started advocacy, I had a real big problem with it because the quality of the messages coming in my inboxes were people just using my inbox to dump their bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, people are coming in my inbox to get reassurance, to say thank you, or to ask for, hey, Matt, do you know of a different place? Understanding what my role is in the advocacy space, which is a brilliant way now that it allows me to be sustainable in this field and to keep getting up every morning and doing it. And I think that shift become from, again, my articulation and my ability to reference that throughout opportunities. I'm always there. However, I'm not set up for crisis. I'm not here for, and I frame it up so well in my speaking gigs that it's of no person's responsibility to grab your big bag of emotional bullshit and come and dump it on someone.
Yeah.
That's no one's role and responsibility in this world. It's our responsibility to come with our big bag of bullshit, open it up, sort through it. I hold a space for it. They put it back on. They go and do the work. And I think people are doing that now. It's a beautiful thing because nobody comes in my inbox anymore and goes, wow, they don't do it anymore. But when I started, I was full of it. Yeah, but I am there for it if somebody is really lost. But at the moment, I feel like however I do it in my workshops is now setting it up for people to understand that I'm not that for them, that I am somebody who will hold a space for allow them to talk, and I'll encourage some next steps. The only time I ever get pissed off and frustrated in my inbox is when people reject what I'm trying to share with them. Yeah. I'm not up for a fight. I don't want to know it. I'm sharing some things with you. You asked for it. Yeah, to listen to it or you don't. Right?
And through establishing those boundaries, it gives the power back to them. You said they're going to bring all their emotions, but hey, I'm holding space for you, but at the end of the day, you're the one that has to do the fucking work.
Absolutely.
It's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink, right?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And that's why I love about everything that you do. It's, yes, giving them the information, but it's giving them the power to actually sort through their emotions.
Yeah. You have to do your own work. You have to do your own work. Otherwise, you'll never have the gratification for knowing next time you're in that situation that you can get through it. The first thing that we see parents do when a little one cries, pick them up, cuddle, nurture them. Not saying it's a bad thing, but if you always do that, then what happens when the little one hits prep and kindergarten and goes into school and you're not there to hold them and cuddle them when something goes wrong?
Yeah.
Anger, frustration, sadness, isolation, loneliness. We set the seeds for narcissism. When kids are mollycoddled, nurtured, comforted all the time, bubble wrapped, helicopter parenting, bulldozer parenting, where we set our kids up for failure because we dull their brain development, and our kids believe that everybody in the world exists purely for their own emotional needs. Because, hang on, when I hurt, someone's always there. Our kids have to hurt, have to feel. That way our kids grow up and they go through the school environment, and when they hurt, they're like, oh, I got this. That's what resilience is. Positive reinforcement for behaviours in which causes pain.
Yeah.
So it's the ability to overcome those things with positive behaviours. That's what resilience is. We can't teach it. You have to do it. And so it's letting our kids hurt and feel. It's not a nice thing to watch your kid hurt and feel.
It's like finding that middle ground.
Yeah.
Like, so my daughter, her favourite food is banana. She'll wake up and go, no.
I love that.
And she can't have fucking 5 bananas a day, right? So
Pete Siddle sort of stuff.
yeah. So I'm like, sorry, you cannot have a banana. And she gets upset. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, but you can have one tomorrow. She can't quite understand what's going on. But for me, my mindset is, it's not about neglecting their emotions. It's about understanding, hey, you're upset right now. You can't have a banana, but hey, you can have one tomorrow. And the way I love to frame it is, you have a job and you go to your boss, hey, can I have a promotion? He goes, no, get out. No, doesn't give you any reason at all. How powerless do you feel? How rejected do you feel because you feel like you're being neglected, or there's no way for you to improve because there's no feedback given to you?
It's an open loop in our brain. We all have open loops. And I talk about this often, and it's great that we've gone here. Open loops, with every interaction we have with a person, our brain opens a loop. How we close that loop is our conditioning, is what sets us up for the rest of our lives. So it's like, mum, hey, mum, come over, look at this. Mum, check out my game. Mum, come over it. No, not now. I'm busy. What does the little kid hear? My feelings don't matter. I'm not valued. I'm not loved.
You don't have time.
Mum doesn't have time for me. Was that what mum was trying to say? No. But that open loop in the brain, given that Australians are 7 times more likely to find a negative than a positive in every situation, means that they'll close that thing with negatives. So it's up to us in that situation about the banana, is closing the loop from a place of love and care of what is something that I can say in this moment of time that comes from the right place of my heart, that allows them to close their loop about the banana until tomorrow, where they understand that dad can't give me a banana because he loves me, because it's for this reason, that reason, or this reason, but it comes from a place of love. Same way I was saying to parents last night about technology. Every parent wants to take the technology off their kid. But if you not, and I said my number one instruction last night was get in the game. How many of the parents in front of me know the games that their kids are playing? No, I've got no interest in it. Well, what do you reckon the kid hears when you could try and take the game off him? Well, mum just takes the game off me because she doesn't get it. She doesn't understand me. But if you got in the game and understood the game with your kid, then when you set some boundaries and loved them up against them, the kid would hear, oh, mum does, she knows that what this game provides me and my association to the game. Independence, achievement, growth, whatever the association with technology is. But it comes from, hey, mate, I need you to get off that technology now. They hear she doesn't get it, or they hear mum does get it, but she loves me. And that's why she's putting in those boundaries. Because kids don't feel boundaries. They don't taste boundaries as the flavour of love. They don't. They see them as criticism and rejection and disappointment. So if we can do everything that we do with closed loops, with love and care, can't have a banana now, but what we can do and give them choice.
Yeah.
And they give choice, they make decisions. Some choices lead them to fail, some choices lead them to success. The ones who make us fail, the ones that help us grow, success releases right endorphins, win-wins.
Exactly. And by implementing those healthy boundaries, especially from such a young age, when they get older, they're able to better understand it and set their own boundaries in their own life.
Got to consistency. If we do, it's just like you can stay up late tonight, but not tomorrow night. It's like, well, if you do that sort of stuff, you're bound to just, but don't even worry about having boundaries.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have consistency with your boundaries, then the kids will always they'll always fray off the track. So it's really important that we do have them and we love them up against them. It's not, here's the boundary, I'm the adult, you do what you're told, don't back chat me. because that comes from a place of, I'm bigger than you.
Yeah.
I'm more, it's like respect your elders. It's, I'm the boss of this house, you listen to me. And what does that make people feel? It's like if I went, hey, Nick, shh. How does that make you feel?
Small. Yeah.
Well, lift up and heal people, pull them down and destroy them. So if we're doing that stuff, expect kickback, right? But if we can set the boundaries and go, hey, guess what? I know that the technology is important to you. I know what it means to you. I need you to do this as your parent because I love you, blah, blah, blah. It comes from a place of big me, big you, right? Instead of talking down and being the dominant person and making people feel small. And all of that's really, really important to setting those healthy boundaries because, as I said, you love them up against the boundaries. They might not feel boundaries as love, but it's about helping them as best as we can to understand that it is love.
Yeah.
And that we're doing it for them, not to them, right? And that's a fundamental difference in that those two things. So, I mean, it's a fun dance as a parent to try and do that stuff, but there's going to be the fights, there's going to be the arguments, have the fights, have the arguments. But when they do have the fights and do have the arguments, they come from a place of love.
Definitely. It's somehow finding that balance of I am the authority, I am the parent, but it's giving you the power and the voice as well. It's not shutting you down.
Yes. Give them choice. Let them hurt. Let them feel. Let them make bad choices. Let them make good choices. Be there to support them when they make the bad ones and to help them to encourage and to understand what a better choice might look like, but don't go walking them through the better choices. Don't go, that's a bulldozer parent where we just go, everything out of the way so my kid can live this perfect, magical life.
And then when shit goes down, it's like they can't handle any adversity.
Yeah. And I think my parents did it really well. I still, went through everything I went through, but my parents did it really, really well. My dad let me feel, he let me hurt. And I'm grateful that he did because that's why I could be homeless, lost 11 mates, had attempts, still here to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hurt. It's caused me a lot of discomfort and pain and always will. But everyone always says to me, Matt, why were you so resilient where other people weren't? And I believe it is because of the way I was brought up. I was brought up feeling hurt and going through consequences. But my parents were consistent. They allowed me to have choice. They cared for me. And I think that those 3 C's are the keys to parenting. Choice, care, consequences, and consistency. Maybe 4.
Well, what's the feedback you get on teaching this stuff to parents? Is there pushback?
Yeah, of course there is. What would someone of my age at 32 know about parenting?
Yeah.
Mate, I'm obsessed with it. I've gone out and read every book you can, read every podcast. I surround myself with change agents in the field. I study everything. I'm obsessed. I've been a parent. But what would I know? You look so young, right? So yeah, I have an audience of 100. I'll probably get 2 that think I'm an idiot. And those 2 will drive me insane for that hour that they're at a parent session. And somehow they always sit at the fucking front row. always in slapping me. It's like it. They're always there. I had a lady rock up last night and she wanted straight away, her energy was she was going to be a handful. But it's up for me. Again, it's boundaries. I'll role model it as a facilitator. I said the boundaries last night. Tonight's going to be fun if you keep showing up like that. I'm not letting you walk all over me. I know what I'm talking about. I work around some of the best change agents in the world. I learn from some of the best parenting experts in the world. This, what I talk about, isn't revolutionary. I didn't create it. I'm the facilitator of it. And I facilitate it in a way that's engaging and relatable. That's my job. So again, when you walk into a session of mine with those shit glasses on, you'll find it.
Yeah.
And if you go to look down the shit filing cabinet, guess what you're going to find? You'll find more files of it. So again, I can't really do anything about those people that rock up in my environments with, I don't even know why they rock up to these environments, but they do. You seem to always have a couple that kick back off it. But in the most part, parents love it. They appreciate anybody willing to help them and support them. And like I said last night at the parenting session I had, most of the parents in front of me right now, most of the people I'm looking at right now have probably came here, and I could feel have came here looking for a million different answers that we don't have the problems of. All it is presence. All these people need to be is just more present to their kids and they'll find the answers for themselves. But we're so, I guess, the same way you see it in the kids. All these parents are believing that they're failing their kids and doing the wrong thing and their kids off track and my kids left home and my kids running away. And it's like, I'm the worst parent in the world. No, you're not. No, you're not. Strip it back. Slow down. Be more present to them. And the answers are there. If we listen to people the same way you're listening to me makes me feel seen, heard, and valued. That's all the human being wants, is to love and be loved, to be seen, heard, and valued for who we are. The 5 fundamentals of a human being: love, belonging, connection, contribution, and variety. You provide the first 3 to your child, you'll go a long way to keeping them here and to making them feel comfort to get those things up off their chest. Parenting 101. But a lot of us are busy, doing. I've got to be everywhere, I've got to do everything, that they forget that they need to spend 20 minutes of physical, emotional, intellectual time with their kid a day for them to feel loved. And the day you don't is the day they don't feel loved. And they'll remember that. Conditioning.
Yeah.
I'm not loved. They don't have time for me. All of a sudden you got kids that run away, kids that don't want to do anything, kids that don't listen, kids that retract, recoil, suppress, etc., etc. So again, it's a beautiful thing to do that dance with a lot of those parents, especially like last night was a beautiful thing. Great session. A lot of parents in there looking for a million answers, and only to reaffirm them or give them the confidence to know that when you walk out of this building today, you're doing the right thing as long as you lead with your heart. Be more present, slow the world down. Kids don't care if you earn $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Kids only care that you love them. But everyone thinks I've got to make $1 million. No kid gives a shit if you're rich or not. They just want to be loved. And a lot of them, when you say that sort of stuff, they're like, whoops. Just need to be taught. Just need to be reminded. Slow down. The world's moving at a rapid rate. Doesn't mean we have to move with it.
Definitely.
Slow down. Be more present to people. When we're present to people, we hear them, we see them, we value them. And if we can do that, we keep them out.
100% agree. Like, as parents, we're just doing the best with the tools that we have, but we also should have the open mind to pick up all tools along the way. And presence is a big thing for me. Like, my daughter will crack the shits if I'm on my phone.
Good.
She'll come over and do a fucking his ears, like scream and get my attention, because that's all they want. They want my attention.
Kids will whinge and complain until they feel heard.
That's a big thing for me around her now. I try not to be on my phone, try not to be on my laptop. It's like, if I'm with you, I'm with you. Playing, doing all that, and perfectly fine.
Yeah. Presence. It's not even a parenting conversation. It's an everything conversation, isn't it? The whole world's humming, just going at a rapid rate. We just need to slow that world down, bring it back. 5,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day. 91% of our thoughts today are the same again tomorrow. You're having a shit day today, good chance it's going to be shit again tomorrow unless you do something about it. And this is where we see depression. See people getting stuck. And that was the same for me. Life sucks. Poor me. Everything's going wrong. Why did I lose mates? Why am I hurting? Why did I have that relationship break down? When am I going to get a break? That's entitlement. Life doesn't owe me nothing. I'm lucky to be here. Well, you're lucky to be here, yeah? So it's the ability to understand that by doing nothing, nothing changes. Hashtag change your world. And that's where it all comes from, is back to, what can we do with these thoughts that are coming up and popping up in front of me every day? Do I just keep ignoring them, removing them? Or do I go, hey, what are you there for? Who's causing it? Who's around? What environment? How does it make me feel? How do I dance with it? How do I create magic with it? Can I remove it? Can I accept it? Can I grow from it? Next. Repeat.
Our thoughts don't define us.
No, you don't understand what they're there for. And then we can do the dance. But if we just keep letting thoughts smack us around, they will. And as I said to people, if you go to bed tonight with shit in your hands, guess what happens when you wake up in the morning? You're covered in it.
I've been having this conversation lately, and what I'm noticing in society, I feel like we're so disconnected with not only with us, within ourselves, but with each other. And I think that's contributing a lot to poor mental health. And I see that in schools, you've been doing meditation and stuff in schools.
Lots of.
How important is that to get these kids at such a young age to have the conscious awareness to be doing meditation?
Oh, mate, it's a pretty magical thing to watch them learn it too, because you're in some parts, you're the first person that's ever shown them what it looks like. What was really important to me when I started building out these programs for these kids was I'd go into schools and I'd watch other programs and I'd sit up the back, and I had a lot of people, like, as a mental health advocate that does a lot of work around the country, they're like, hey, Matt, can you come in and watch our program and see what you think of it? I'm like, yeah, of course I can. I'd sit up the back and they'd teach meditation and things. The kids would meditate. Or teachers would have me up the back of the class and they're like, we meditate all the time at school. So it's great. And then they'd finish the session and I'd say, can I intervene? And they're like, sure. And I'd bring over, I said, pick any kid you want. Jimmy comes over. Hey, Jimmy, when do you meditate, mate? He goes, when the bell goes, 11 o'clock. It's a good answer, Jimmy, but guess what? There's no bell in the real world, son. So for me, it was just like these kids know what meditation is. They don't know why they're doing it. So we have a full 60 minutes prior to teaching any breathwork techniques or meditation in phase 2 of our program. where they learn the 3 parts of the brain. Most adults don't know the 3 parts of the brain. So, we have our superhero to the kids. Karen Young, fantastic parenting expert, child anxiety expert, she calls it the warrior. We call it our superhero. Our superhero is our amygdala, flight or fight. Is this that protects us? The role of our superhero, same as the movie, is to protect us. But Superman can't protect 2 people at once. They only do one thing at a time. Our brain can only do one thing at a time properly, which means if we slow down and be more present to that one thing, we'll do it right. Superman likes presence, likes doing one thing at a time, likes it silent. You insert breathwork, meditation, mindfulness. Superman lets a memory through or a thought through down to our hippocampus, which stores our memories. It's our librarian. So the kids understand it as a librarian. Our librarian likes a quiet library. When we have a quiet library, our librarian can store the books in the right spot. Hence, our thoughts can be stored in the right spot and our memories can be stored in the right spot, meaning when our judge, which is our prefrontal cortex, needs to make a decision, they grabs the librarian, grabs the books and the thoughts and the memories and our education, our information of that situation, runs it to our judge. The judge makes a decision. Fast that process up. Someone calls you a name, goes down the back, finds it, panicking, not stored in the right area. Cue. We retaliate. Bad choice. Not a bad person, bad choice. Because up here he's going crazy. Up here's got a million thoughts going on. But if we slow down, someone says a name to us, we sit with it, we pull ourselves out of it, take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, remove ourselves from the situation, don't say anything nasty back.
You can respond instead of react.
And so we help the kids to understand how the brain works, and then we teach them breathwork techniques, and then we teach them meditation. And it's magical. Magic.
Fucking sounds magical, just hear it.
It is good. These kids know the 3 parts of their brain. I mean, we'd be dorks doing it, but it's like protect, store, decide. And the kids are like, they run through the process with their mind. They're like, okay, thought comes in. Is it safe? Am I okay? Yep. Goes down to the memory, pause, makes a good decision. So when somebody's doing something or you're on a test, it's about walking through that process of slowing the mind down so we can make good, clear decisions. But if our mind is all doing, the decision and the clarity we have in that moment of time is not going to be the best. So it makes it very hard to concentrate. My whole school was read a book. Yep, cool. I'd look at the question. Here's the question. And then the teacher go, Matt, the question's on page 37. I'm like, okay, I'll go flick to page 37. I'm like, the fuck was the question again? It was already gone. Yeah. I couldn't even do that. They're telling me where the answer is. I still couldn't find it, right? Because my brain was just chaos. And it'll continue to be like that if I don't look after it. So mindfulness, meditation, breath work, that's where the answers lie. The more present we are to things, the more we see the signs. The first tear comes from the left eye duct, it's pain. First tear comes from the right eye duct, it's joy, happiness, and contentment. These things people don't know, right? But these things are the signs. I know you can Google all the other signs, but these are the sorts of things that are right, very in front of us. When does Matt talk really, really quick? When is he really, really nervous? When does he break the eye contact to look up there because he's really, really shit himself? When does he play with his hands? Are they sweaty? Are they clammy? Why? When we understand this stuff, we can start to go, when he was talking about this is when I noticed this. Boom, there's your sign. Work with it.
Yeah. Understanding the social cues.
It's not about analysing people, but it's about understanding as a good friend why they do what they do in what moment of time. So it's like, oh, I think I just hit a pain point. I heard him stop and think and have pauses. Boom. I'm not going to go at it, but I'm going to understand that it's there and I'm going to continue to massage that sign until I get out of him what was really going on there for him. Instead of I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm all good. So it's just like, for me, it's a game, it's a process. So it's just like, oh, I felt that. Do you feel that? Yep. They sit there and they say something that their eyes are up here while they're doing it, or they're playing with their hands, or the tears coming down here. Something going on there. We work with it. Long term, not I want to find out the answer right now. I know you're lying to me. Doesn't look like that. It looks like sitting there and, as I said, understanding that the signs are always in front of us if we're consciously looking for them or present to them. But as I said, this world right now is doing, busy. An absolute fucking cop-out of a word used by people who don't know how to prioritize their time for things that matter. 1,440 minutes in a day, 400 to 600 sleeping, 400 to 600 at work, 400 to 600 remain to be a good person, to be present to people. And like we said before with parenting, 20 minutes of quality, intellectual, physical, and emotional and spiritual time invested in our kids allows them enough of what they need to know they're loved. And it's the same for human beings out there too. So it's just like 20 minutes of that a day, 1,440 minutes of it in a day. So somebody tell me they're too busy to help somebody. Somebody show me their diary and tell me they're too busy to be a good person. Please.
Cop out.
Please. Shut up. Exactly. I say it all the time. But we can both get caught up in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, being aware. These choices don't make us bad people, but they make us, as long as we're consciously aware of what we're doing, we can always reflect and be more effective.
That's it. As long as you have that awareness to pick up on, hey, fuck, I didn't spend 20 minutes, or I didn't say I had 20 minutes, but really I just spent that watching Netflix. Like,
yeah.
Get your priorities right.
Yeah, what's their screen time? Check that out. Yeah, and like you said, like, I mean, Huey Van Killenberg from the Betar Project, he's a great man. You know, he always talks about, well, I've had conversations with him about how he, used to go to the park, and he'd always be on his phone. His little man would be going down the slide going, Dad, check it out. And he'd start to find himself getting frustrated. And then he's just like, instead of getting frustrated at the kid wants to be seen, heard, and got. Oh, I'm on my phone. So he goes for a walk now and goes to the park without the phone. Simple technique. Change your behaviour, change your world.
That's it. Quick one. This podcast is now sponsored by Savvy Beverages, the 100% all-natural brain-boosting nootropics drink. Savvy have actually just revamped all their flavors, and let me tell you, they are amazing. My favorite flavor being the mixed berry, but they also have lime and a new flavor, passion fruit. But I'll be honest, taste is not the only reason why I love Savvy. I used to struggle with coffee, any sort of energy drink, anything that had caffeine in it, I could not have because it would set off anxiety within me. Now, what I love about Savvy is it has a 2-to-1 ratio of caffeine and a little ingredient called L-theanine. Now, here's the kicker. L-theanine allows you to experience the energy boost of caffeine without those pesky, anxious side effects. It's honestly a game changer, and it's why I continue to drink Savvy. So if you're interested in trying out Savvy Beverages for yourself, head over to their website at www.savvybeverage.com.au. The link will be in the description. And as a special treat, they're offering an exclusive discount just for you. So use my discount code BETAR20, so that's BETAR 20, during your checkout to receive 20% off your order. Let's get back to the episode. That's a big thing I dislike when I go to parks and I see parents just on their phone. It's like, interact with your kids, be present. For me, I go to the park, I get my phone out to take photos and videos and stuff. But other than that, I'm up there jumping on the shit with it. Like, I'm a big kid myself.
Yeah. Yep. Well, kids are fantastic little sponges, are they not? They role model the behaviour. That's where they get their conditioning from. But also, kids are fantastic people to learn from. Kids, imagination, creativity. They don't give a shit what people think. They're not worried about their appearance. Not worried about what comes out of their mouth. They've got no filter. As we get older, imagination, lack of creativity. Some people. Do we care about what people think? Yes. Do we care about what people think of what we're wearing? Yes. Do we have a filter? Yes. We lose the ability to be authentically us.
Is that something we can prevent? Or do you think that's the natural way of us growing up?
Well, I think there's a natural progression as you go into the world and face responsibilities, but I think that there's a lot of things that we can do to not succumb to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care what people think of me anymore. And I know I used to. I used to be very vain, very cautious about stepping in a house, wearing certain things. I'm happy to walk down the street barefoot and jocks if they let me, if they don't lock me up. But it's got to a place where I'm like, this is who I am. That's the difference between fitting in and belonging. Fitting in, I've got to be someone I'm not to be appreciated and loved or to be accepted. Belonging, I can be Matt. I can be as authentically weird, wonderful, wacky, make stupid decisions and still be appreciated for who I really am at my core. And that's the difference with a lot of kids, especially with technology right now, going down the path of fitting in. I've got to do this to be accepted. I've got to look like this to be accepted. And that's damaging. So it's about stripping it back. Here's my values of who I am. Here's my behaviors. Having them align. And if we don't have them align, no life synergy. But if we do have them align, life satisfaction dramatically improves to a place like where I'm in now, where I'm like, I don't really care what people think of me anymore. I know I'm living in alignment with who I am, and I know I'm a good person and I do good work. I make a lot of mistakes. I have upset a lot of people along this journey, but I'm doing my best to, I guess, eradicate as much of that as I can. And the mistakes I make, I try and learn from. I try not to make them again and again like maybe I used to. So, yeah, we're always growing, we're always improving, we're always trying to strive to be better. But, yeah, I'm in a place now because of the intense work I do on myself where I'm like, this is me. Take it or leave it. This is my lifeboat. This is how many seats are allowed on it. Everyone on my lifeboat is picking up the oars and pushing me in the right direction. That's why it's humming. But if I have let everybody on my boat because I care about everyone's opinion, they jump on the boat. Who's picking up the oars? They're not driving me in the direction. What happens when I'm the only one with an oar? The thing's just doing circle work. Yeah? Get rid of the dead weight. Get rid of the people that have an opinion of you that don't need to, that you don't need to be worrying about. Plenty of cheap seats in the world.
Definitely. I think since becoming a father myself, like prior, I used to always care what people thought. Now having my daughter and seeing how she does not give one shit, and she just
loves dad,
falls over, doesn't care, yells, screams, like does not give one care in the world. I'm like,
yeah,
I say this a lot, like we should just tap into our inner child a lot more. We would be a lot more happier in this world.
100. I go to a thing every year ran by one of my mentors, Heather Yallen, called The Power of You. And at The Power of You, at the very initiation of, there's 20-something people in the room, you go away on a retreat for a weekend, self-development sort of work, and there's a big wall of stuffed toys and teddies, and you get to select one at the very start of the process, and you have to carry it around for the remainder of the trip everywhere you go to remind people of your inner child. When people are in the restaurant, I'm at a winery, Balgownie Winery in Victoria, and I've got this big teddy sit next to me at the dinner table, and then people are like, sorry mate, do you want to tell us what's going on there? I'm like, this represents burden. This is me as an inner child. Blah, 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 blah. Own it. Accept it. Yeah. This is who I am. This is me. This is my inner child. And look after it. Nurture it. That same way like we're talking about core limiting beliefs before. It's made me who I am. That's my inner child, where I found out I was a burden. And I love and appreciate that it did. So here I am going to carry around my teddy bear everywhere I go. Go to the toilets. I go to the bar, have a wine. I go and have dinner. I go for a gym session. My teddy came with me for 3 days straight.
Who's this weirdo with a teddy bear?
Yeah. Yeah. But by the end of it, you're so proud of this thing. Yeah. It's like, hey, you even look at it like that? Like, stay away. So it's an interesting little concept, but it taught me a lot in terms of how much we need to nurture that inner child of ours. And like I said, go hang around the kids for a day and show and tell me how much you'll learn, because we'll learn more from them than they'll learn from us.
What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned from working with kids?
I think that imagination and creativity, and to play in my heart and not my head. Kids don't play in their head, they play in their heart. And if you're always leading with your heart, life's much more simpler and much more enjoyable. You know, you get up on stage and you get into this character and you feel like, oh shit, I don't like dancing. and the kids notice that. They feel it. They're like, ugh, teacher's a bit of a weirdo. He's a bit cringeworthy. And then you get in your head and you just start dancing and grooving and bopping, and you're in your heart. You're in your heart. You don't care. I don't care what people think of me. And the kids gravitate to those people. You think about your teachers at school and who was your favourite, and you probably have a teacher that was in their heart and not their head. Could almost guarantee it.
Yeah.
We have facilitators, or a long list of facilitators of our primary school program, and I think of Liam straight away, and every kid's favourite facilitator is Liam. Big kid, plays in his heart. Even when we're doing role play, he doesn't act. He feels it. He takes himself back to the kid to be as relatable to the kids in front of him as possible. And everyone's favourite, high-fiving Liam, wrapping themselves around his legs, trying to find him at recess and lunch, because he's got a heart. He plays in his heart. And I think that that's a big thing I learned from kids is they just want to be around people with hearts that are playing in this heart space and playing in a space of, I don't really care what people think of me. But as soon as you go up here, what do people think of me? What are people going to think? I'm not a good dancer, 7 times more likely to find a negative than a positive. Then the kids are like, this doesn't feel right. The energy's off. And little kids will find that. That's why they don't hang around teachers that stand over the top of them or bark at them or speak down to them. They find the one that's playing in their heart, not their head. And I think that that's my biggest learning working with kids.
We've been speaking about doing the inner work and getting people off your boat and the pain that you went through earlier in the year and even previous pain that you've gone through in your life. You speak into doing the gardening of your mind. How do we do that? How do we pull the weeds out? What is some of the stuff that you do to garden your mind?
Man, again, one of my mentors the other day said, Matt, you're a sicko for self-work and criticism and feedback. I just love it. I just think that there's levels to this game. There's levels to every game. I know it sounds cliche and I've said it before on different podcasts, but there's something about me that just loves the idea of getting better and being better and knowing more. Maybe selfishly for myself, but also for others. But I guess I go on that journey of trying to accumulate as much knowledge as I can. And I do this is a two-part, I guess. I listen to podcast books, learn from change agents, go to seminars, read citations and papers and research for maybe 3 months. Then I don't do anything for 3 months. Declutter. No more information in. And I just work with what I just learned. So I just don't overwhelm myself, and I go about trying to find different ways to navigate through the different challenges that I face. And in turn, they're normally the challenges that other people are facing too. So it's like, I was never a parenting expert or a person that played in the parenting field. I become a parent. I obsessed over the parenting space. Now I'm playing in the parenting space because I'm really passionate about it and seen a lot of deficiencies in it. So it's again, I'm just going out there trying to accumulate as much information and knowledge as I can so that I can be better in my world. I see there's so many great resources out there. There's so many good podcasts, there's so many good books, and it's about, I guess, associating yourself with those people and learning what you can from their journeys. And I think that that's why we've always struggled with our own mental health, not talking about it. Not because we don't want to talk about it, but because we don't have an articulation of it. The only way I gained an articulation of talking about these things was learning from it and learning from others who have experienced the same things. Paul Dalio, bipolar disorder, was the first person who ever got on stage that I watched intently, back and forth. Him talking about how bipolar was a gift. Subsequently, I fell in love with that. I now talk about bipolar as a gift. You listen to your Kevin Hineses, you listen to your Heather Yellens, you listen to Joseph Spencer's, you listen to these people and you learn things from them and you put it in your arsenal, and in turn you can give it back to others. And I guess that's what the gardening looks like for me, is when a weed comes up, let's deal with it. Let's do the lawn mowing. Let's do it. Let's do the gardening. Let's pull it out rather than walk around and have it continually cause us pain. And now that I know that it's possible to do the gardening, I'm always doing it more proactively than what I would have years ago, where I let the thing just grow out of control and hurt me and kick me when I'm down and make life that tough I couldn't see hope 1 inch in front of my eyelids. So I guess it's getting things early and being proactive about things, and when thoughts and feelings and emotions pop up, it's doing that process so I can go, oh, there's something there today, Matt. Why were you frustrated like that? You're frustrated again today and again today. You're short today. You got angry today. Instead of just going, oh, tomorrow will be different, as I said before, it's about grabbing it and going, okay, something there. Let's find out what it is, and let's go find out how we can overcome it or dance with it and create some magic with it. So it's just that continual process of getting up and asking myself, what can I do today to be better tomorrow? And that's why I don't listen to podcasts or read my book, because I just don't want to go back. Yeah. Just trying to grow every day.
I love that you mentioned that you consume a bunch of stuff for 3 months and then you actually implement it and action what you've learned. That's something that I need to be better at, because I feel like if I'm not consuming something, I'm not growing.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. Now I even had a 6 to 9 month period where I didn't read a book, didn't listen to a podcast, and didn't do a course, didn't do a training, didn't go to speaking seminars. Just completely no more. I don't want anything in here.
Yeah.
And even not to declutter or implement anything, just to give myself time to just be met, rather than feel this unhealthy need to always be growing.
Yeah.
You do a lot of growing when you're present to yourself. And so I sat with myself for 6 to 9 months without a book, without a podcast, without anything. As much as it sucked, because I go to the gym, I listen to podcasts, I was going to the gym, I listen to music, and I hated that. But it was for more important to me. Why are you hating it? there's a lesson in that again. So everything happening around us is trying to teach us something. So 6 to 9 months of just nothing, not consuming media, TVs, anything, just allowed me to be present to myself.
Did you feel like during that period you actually grew more?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You know the boys from Cool to Be Conscious?
Yep.
You know, I sat down with them in a cafe and had a chat to them boys, and I just said to them, I said, I'm a very fast-paced person. I do a lot. My head's busy. And as I said before, as much work as I've done, I've come a long way, but it's still, I'd like to get to a place where I'm even more present and calm than I already am. And I said to the boys, what's one tip, tool, strategy, book, podcast you could push me in the direction of? And they said, they both simultaneously just went and pointed at me. And I went, it's weirdos. And I sat with it, I'm like, oh, ouch. The answers are in me. If you shut up and listen to them. But we're so busy on trying to read the next thing and do the next thing and study the next thing that we miss all the signs and the thoughts and feelings that we're experiencing. And that will never leave me, what those boys did that day, because they both just simultaneously went. And I went, oh, yep, ouch. I've got the answers. I always have. Just got to sit with them and understand them. They're not going to be found in a book. Something will make sense of your journey in a book, in a podcast. But if you sit with your own thoughts, feelings and emotions long enough, oh yeah, that happened because of that. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That's the process.
Yeah.
So it's about sitting with something.
We're always searching for the answers out there, but a lot of the times it's in here.
The expert is us. I'm the biggest expert of my journey. Likewise, you are with yours. Books, as I said, you might read something and go, yeah, oh, that makes sense. Which is great. Reiteration of why we experience something or putting dot to dot. But if we sit with our own thoughts, it's fascinating what we get out of it. Yeah.
Something I think I might take a break for a while because, as I said, I even went for a period where I was going to every seminar, everything like that, searching for like these quick fixes and all these answers. And I'd come back and go to Tony Robbins and dance for a day and think like I'm a new person, come back to reality. And it's like, I'm still the same me. Yes, I may have learned a couple of things, but on a deeper level, I'm still me because I never actually had the conversation and had the stillness with myself. For you, do you have like a stillness routine or?
Well, notoriously when I get up of a morning, ice bath sauna. So that happens in the morning. And my sauna is in my garage.
Yeah.
So my sauna is it's a forced pause. I can't do anything in there. Like I just have to sit with myself, and I have a one-seater, which is even worse, and can't lay down or anything. So it really hones me in on my own thoughts because it's like I'm sitting there in pain because it's that hot. And I can't move, I can't lay down, I can't watch my phone, can't do anything. And you just really got to just sit with everything that you're experiencing. The salt and the ice bath is the same thing.
Do you have a chest freezer one? Or?
Yeah. And just sit in it. So 400 litre or whatever it is and just sit in it. And yeah, I mean, I meditate and do a lot of mindfulness practices and small scale distraction techniques. But I think one thing that really benefits me that also might to people out there as well is like I'm a very productive person, busy person, do a lot of things that I do, productive. Not many days spare in the diary, and I choose it to be that way. But one thing I do now, there's two things that I do now. One, I book holidays that don't exist. So I'm booking an American speaking tour, lock it in, trick my brain into believing that it's happening, right until it doesn't happen. Not doing it anymore, cancel. Diary's free. Don't let anyone, it's too late to book anything in. The month's here. Happened in April. I booked American speaking tour to get out of the country. Up until about 2 weeks out, I decided, fake trip, we're not going. And left the diary open to just be more present to myself and to slow my world down, forced pause. But also I volunteer twice a year at different things where I go and work in different organisations and volunteer my time. So I'm put my own crap down for a couple of weeks and go and play and focus on kids or focus on the youth and go and play in that space where I go away, where there's no reception, no technology, and I'm just present to the kids. And I learn more of those things about myself than I believe that I give any of those kids. And it's like I go, Green Super Camp Australia, now it's called Ignite Camp, happens for 10 days, 7 to 10 days, a senior camp and a junior camp of of young kids. A self-accelerated learning development camp, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I go to that, volunteer. You do 9 to 10 days. As I said, no technology, but there's times that you eat. Lots of learning, sitting on the floor, being present to the kids. Lots of high energy stuff as well, but also the ability to just basically a big reset on your life. I call it rehab, but it's probably not the best term for it. But I go there and I just reset. I go back to boxing. I go for runs. I meditate. I sit by the river. I eat what the kids are eating. So my thing that I struggle with is nutrition. My discipline and consistency around what comes in my cupboard is not great. It's definitely my downfall. But when I go to camp, it's like my reset button, because when I'm at camp, I'm getting fed what I'm getting fed, and it's healthy. And then I go back after camp and I just always feel inspired to level up. I always feel more driven, more passionate, healthier, ready to rock and roll again. And it's just about trying to extend those things. So sometimes you need to put things in place to force the issue.
Force the change, yeah. Have you thought about doing like Vipassana, like the 7-day silent retreats? Have you heard of that?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be in a lot of trouble, I reckon. I'd be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, you'd love to be a fly on the wall inside my head in something like that. Yeah. I have a busy mind. There's no doubt about it. I live with bipolar disorder, but I love that idea. As I said, my mentor, she said, you're a sicko for pain, like in terms of emotional pain, like trying to keep people up late to tell me feedback, criticize me, tell me something I'm struggling at. Just love it. So it's just like, give me that sort of stuff. Let me do it. I'd like to try everything at least once, mate. Yeah.
What do you think would come up 7-day retreat?
I mean, I actually think it'd be the best thing for me in terms of sitting still.
Yeah.
A very, very doing person. So I don't know. I don't know what'd come up. Probably lots of answers. Probably show me what's next for me. Those sorts of things. They're the things that I'm dancing with at the moment. I've been an advocate in the mental health space for 10 years. I've delivered, to 2-3 million people on stages 1,000 times. It's just like, okay, it's all well and good, but there's some other things that I'd like to accomplish and do. Doesn't mean I'm not any less passionate about this field, but it's just like, what else can I do out there to make a difference? What tree could I shake out there?
There's more to life.
There is. And I was always told when I first started speaking, Matt, if you ever stop feeling it, stop doing it.
Yeah.
And I still feel it. I still tear up when I tell some of my stories. But I just feel like maybe there's something else out there for me to do in the same field, maybe, or even in a different field. But
yeah, there's inkling of what that could be. Just thousands of thoughts.
Yeah, there's lots of ideas. I like the idea of now going simplifying and going back to one-on-one.
Yeah,
seeing the difference I can make on one person's journey at a time rather than thousands in audiences.
Mm-hmm.
But I can always dance with both. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. I've got a lot of responsibility at the charity to stay there. So I don't know that I'm going there anywhere anytime fast.
It's the interesting journey we call life, or the roller coaster of life.
Roller coaster it is.
We don't know what's going to happen next, and a big part of it is just being present and seeing what the cards are going to come up with.
What's it look like for you?
I don't know, to be honest. I have a massive Google Docs just full of ideas and stuff.
Yeah, cool.
For me, a big thing is I love travel and I love this connection and podcasting. So if I can combine the two and be able to travel and do podcasting around the world, a big inspiration for me lately was the Resilience Project. They did their live podcast, and I went to that in Sydney. I was like, this is fucking cool. Imagine if I could do something like that. Like, it was like a show, but it had so much meaning within it. I was like, that'd be cool.
Why can't you?
Exactly.
Yeah. It doesn't have to look like 5,000 people like the Imperfects. Why don't you start with 100, 150, 200 people? There's only one way it'll grow.
Yeah.
550 people walk away going, shit, that was good. That's how I built my speaking platform. I spoke. I don't market. I don't advertise. I just rely on doing a good job and letting people walk away and tell the next person I did a good job. And I think that that's the best form of advocacy too. So, yeah, you should jump in the deep end, mate. Grab a table, grab a podcast, and grab a producer and set up a venue and sell some tickets.
I think so.
I'd be there with bells on.
Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I'm going to do something like that in the future. Also workshops and stuff like this. As I said, there's heaps of ideas. It's just prioritizing what's important right now.
Yeah, of course.
And just taking action on one thing at a time.
And you have got a little one, so
yeah, you keeps me on my toes, man.
You do have a restraint.
That's it.
I've got anybody holding me back at the moment, so I can go for gold, which makes it a lot easier said than done.
And that's it. And I feel a lot of parents use children as an excuse not to achieve anything as well.
They do.
I never wanted to be one of those people. I felt like when I first found out, I was like, oh, fuck, how's my life going to, how am I going to do my podcast? How am I going to do this?
I think I remember you talking about that in some of your posts, like the nervousness and the angst that was coming of, am I capable? Am I worthy?
Yeah.
Will I have time? All the unknowns. And who out there is educating anyone on what you do in those situations? I feel like there's a field there that someone needs to jump in and play in, educating new parents on what to expect. Yeah, I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, it's something that definitely fuels me now. It's like having a child is the biggest blessing. I'm not going to use it as an excuse because then that leads to resent down the track.
Yes.
Never wanted that. I wanted to be a fucking example of what it's like to build a business, build a podcast, but still have a beautiful loving family.
Yeah. And you're doing just that.
That's it, bro. You can have both.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we should tap in and utilize those little ones how we can, and if they're the source of joy, use that joy to drive forward everything else in your world. So, we're present to them, we give them the quality time, but they also inspire us to do good things.
Definitely.
As I said, I love playing in the schools with the kids, but, as a CEO, often some of my board or people around me and mentors will say, Matt, you need to build the program and get out of the program. And I'm like, going and hanging out with the kids is like, it's a breath of fresh air that I need. Yeah, it's the laughter, it's the joy. Some of the kids say the funniest shit in his classes, mate. How good is this for an analogy? I had a grade 4 girl this week. We're talking about emotions. We talk about sadness and how important it is. And she said to the boys, I was up the back, she said to the boys, very articulate, whoever's her mum and parents out there, wow, good job. She said, we don't hold on to our pee, because if we hold on to our pee, we have discomfort and pain. This is grade 4. We have pain and discomfort, which leads to kidney stones. So why do we hold on to our tears and cause discomfort and pain, which essentially causes depression, anxiety, and suicide? That's a great,
Are you serious?
That's a grade 4. I'm like, I am stealing that analogy for the rest of my life. You are a brilliant young girl.
Wow.
Brilliant. Same process. Hold on to your urine. Don't go to the toilet. Pain, discomfort, unease, kidney stones.
This next generation.
It gives me great hope.
Yeah, that was
great hope. To hear that from a grade 4 girl, it was just like, wow, go you. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and then especially the implementation of your programs and the other people out there doing amazing work too. It's giving these next generation the tools so that when they become adults, they can better handle adversity and whatever the world has to throw at them. So
there's a lot of pretty unique thinkers out there. Like obviously this day and age in the primary schools, there's a lot of sensory challenges. They're just the challenges. These kids will be great, right? And like I said before, but yeah, we see these little deep minds exploring the world. Yeah. And I don't remember it being like that when I was at primary school. I don't remember kids sitting around me sensory. I don't remember kids sitting around me exploring alternative things. I don't remember kids sitting around me so uniquely themselves. I feel like we were all the same until we got to high school and we sort of just blossomed into whatever we were going to be.
Yeah.
But we weren't very different to the person sitting next to us. Now it's just like there's a literally licorice all sorts in that classroom, and it's awesome to watch. It's cute, it's funny, but yeah, you just wonder what's going to happen and eventuate for all of them because you just see their little minds in there going, exploring different things, thinking about things in a different way. And I reckon the just imaginations and the creativity of these kids is wild. And I have hope for that. Yeah, that it'll look a little bit different to the way it's looked for all of us. Yeah, and you only have to look at entrepreneurship and stuff like that now, and the amount of people doing things for themselves these days. And yeah, the world's moving in different directions. Will it be beneficial? We'll see.
That's it.
We'll see. But there's a lot of thinkers out there.
Time will tell. We just got to continue creating the space, the environment for these kids to continue tapping into their mind.
100%. 100%. Yeah. We can learn a lot from everyone.
That's it. Man, you're doing amazing work. I love everything that you do. So you should be super proud to,
thanks, mate.
You really are having an impact on the next generation, which is then going to impact society.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, wow. The goal originally when I started this work was come from the thought of the thought that saved my life was the thought of having kids one day. And I'm I got a small snippet of what it's like to be a dad. We've taken on the role of my ex-partner's kid for 12 months. And the goal's still strong and still there. My why is still very much cemented in my brain that, one day I'm going to have kids, but I want them to grow up in a better environment than we did. So therefore, what can I do to facilitate that? And so, yeah. And, as I said, in turn, I'm out there doing the work with kids. It's great, no doubt about it. But what they give me and the joy that and contentment that they fill my cup up with is tenfold than I'll ever be able to give back to them.
Yeah. From one father to a future father, bro, I honestly, truly believe you're going to be an amazing dad one day. Like the tools that you're going to be able to pass on to your children it's going to be impeccable. It's going to be amazing, man. So
hope so, mate.
I'm excited to see what the future holds.
I do have confidence that I will be a good dad. So we'll, I don't always say that about things that I do, but I do believe I will be. And I think I will be because of what my dad was to me, but also the skills and that I'm accumulating from great people right around the world. So it's a message for anybody out there to go do the work, go find the tools, go find the skills, and associate yourself with people that can pull you up and empower you and inspire rather than pull you down.
Matt, we have a closing tradition on the podcast where the previous guest leaves a question for the next guest.
I love this.
Now, okay, so this question is, if you could wake up in anyone's body tomorrow, who would it be and why?
Body. I could think of minds that I'd like to wake up in. Bodies.
We'll say body and mind as well.
Body and mind. Wake up as somebody?
Yeah, somebody. Make it simple.
All right, there's a couple. Chester Bennington from Linkin Park.
Okay. Why is that?
Kurt Cobain. Two blokes with bipolar disorder. Two blokes that have taken their life. I'd like to understand what was going on up there and to explore it. I look at the Linkin Park lyrics and the pain that Chester Bennington went through in order to write those lyrics and what they said, and I'm like, well, just speaks to my journey tenfold. Yeah, I'd like to sit in that mind and understand it a little bit better from a different light, a different perspective, because I believed he spoke so openly about his journey so often in all of his lyrics. He healed and inspired so many people who listened to his music through his pain, but yet still couldn't stay here. I'd like to understand that a little bit more. Kurt Cobain, on the other end, some really dark sort of stuff come out of his mouth. Never wanted to be here. I'd like to understand that too.
I want to follow that up with a question. I mean, talking about these amazing people that have gone on to take their life. What's your perspective on suicide? Do you think it's selfish?
No, not at all. No, you can't see hope 1 inch in front of your eyelids, so you're not thinking about that in that moment of time. Yeah. Not once did I consider anybody else around me when I was experiencing pain, because I believed I was a burden on them. And that's common across the board. We don't think of others in that moment of time because we think they'd be better off without us. That's how unwell that mind is. To think that the world would be better off without us. It's like for me, I would clean out my inboxes on social media. I'd clean my room, take trash out, small things like that, so that people didn't have to do that once I was gone, thinking that I would somehow make their life a little bit easier to deal with.
Yeah.
Totally irrational to the fact that I wouldn't be here and that might hurt them. Wouldn't even consider it. Not even a thought. I don't believe it's selfish in one part. None at all. That's an unbearable amount of emotional pain. And what do we want to do when we go through an unbearable amount of physical pain? We want it to stop.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with suicide. We want that pain to stop. And the only way we do that is depending on what our skill set allows us. And sometimes, I mean, I look at March and April, I was back suicidal as I've ever been.
I really
don't want to be. Yeah. And I would not say that if I wasn't. I was probably the worst I've ever been as far as I can remember. And I've had 4 suicide attempts, been off the street. I was the worst I've ever been. And losing that little one, that little girl, that killed me, nearly killed me. And I could not see hope 1 inch in front of my eyelids, even with my skill set. And I did not once consider the people around me and the impacts it would have if I left. All I wanted to do was go. So, yeah, I mean, I can see why people believe it's selfish, and I can see why people hate the people who do that and leave that behind on somebody, but that is not how it works. It's not how it works. People think they're a burden on people. People think people would be better off without them. People can't see hope 1 inch in front of their eyelids, so how are they meant to even consider how it might impact others? They are so involved in their own emotional pain that they can't function properly. And that was what it felt like for me, and that's why off air, I said to you at the start that like going through what I did in February, March, was the gentle reminder of why I'm going to continue to do this work in some capacity, where I was like, I'm ready to stop doing it. I'm ready to stop speaking because I was getting like, it's a lot. I've been doing it for a long time, but I was like, hang on a minute. Now I know what it's like to hurt again. I'm more passionate than ever. So yeah, it's definitely not selfish. Definitely not selfish. And that's why I'd like to get in some of those minds and understand it. Chester Bennington, Heath Ledger, Kurt Cobain, all these. Well, you could look at the 27 Club, right? You could go and look at any of their minds and be fascinated by what you'd find or how it might feel to be them for someone else, for someday, sorry. So yeah, I'm always interested in what it would feel like to be somebody else. Yeah, maybe not physically. There's plenty of good bodies if they're there. Don't worry about that. But I'm more interested in sitting in their mind and trying to understand them. Yeah, if I could bring back those guys and have a dinner conversation with them, I'd love that too.
Matt, thank you so much. I know you've been busy in schools all week and making the trip out here, and then you had the long trip back to Melbourne. I honestly really appreciate you making the time for this.
Thank you, brother. And it's good to be back on, and it's good to be here. As I said at the start, to see what you're doing and how you're doing it, man. Super impressed, super inspired by it. It makes me want to go and kick my ass into gear to get mine happening. So, again, mate, love what you're doing and love that it comes from the right place in your heart.
Much love for all the listeners. If you got value out of today, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Check out what Matt's doing. You also has his book, Nobody Can Save Me. Check it out. It's a really good read. A lot of great tools in there as well. And yeah, once again, super grateful for you, Matt.
Thanks, mate.
Awesome. Guys, I've teamed up with Ty Leonards from Betar today. We had an amazing conversation and connection through our podcast, and we thought, you know what? Let's take it further. Let's deepen this connection. And Ty's actually put together this journal. It's a 6-week journal. He's worked with psychologists, nutritionists, put together which I would call a mental fitness journal. It encapsulates everything that we speak about here at the Betar Project when it comes to mind, body, spirit. And I thought, you know what? We're so aligned here. Let's team up. These journals honestly take the stress out of accessing mental health education. And they give you a chance to learn what simple daily decisions can be impacting our mental health and how you can take the action to improve your mental fitness day in and day out. If you're interested, click the link in the description and use the discount code BETAR, that's BETAR, to receive 15%